What up, guys? We're back with another Destiny video, and of course, it is I, Salvajee from the Salvajee Cartel. Anyways, I want to talk about the Sparrow Racing League and what I believe Bungie should do to drastically increase this game. But I think this game mode is really boring, very repetitive, and I really want this game mode to be good. Honestly, Bungie didn't really take any risk when it came down to this game mode this year. They just added 2 new maps, and yeah, Sparrow Racing is pretty much the same thing as it was last year. Anyways, how can Bungie, what's the thing called, make Sparrow Racing League more fun? Well, why don't we start by actually adding a league into the Sparrow Racing League? Okay, so what if there were 2 Sparrow Racing game modes? We had Sparrow Racing, which is 6 players in total, okay, and that's what you guys are seeing in the background. But what if we had another game mode called Sparrow Racing League, or a Sparrow Racing Championship? In other words, 12 players, that's right, I said 12 players, I'll get to that later, but 12 players play on the 4 maps that we have available right now, and they play 4 races, and at the end of those 4 races, okay, the player with the most points wins, okay, and gets a trophy, or gets like a guaranteed exotic engram, or something like that, you know what I mean? And you guys might be wondering, that sounds very familiar. That's right, it's of course it's familiar. Because it's just like Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart game modes, Mario Kart games. It's so obvious, man. Like, I don't know why Bungie just didn't do this. Like, 4 Sparrow races in a row, and then at the end of the day, like, at the end of every race, points get added. If you're in first place, you get a specific amount of points. If you're in second place, you get a specific amount of points, and so on. Anyways, at the end of all 4 races, then people... then the person with the most points win. That means that if you get first place on the first race, and then second, fourth, and fourth on what's this thing called? On the other races, then that means you're not going to end up in first place. That means that if you did really bad on the first 2 races, on the last 2 races, you might end up in first place, and you might end up in second place overall. Okay, that's what I believe the Sparrow Racing League should have. Now earlier in the video, I said that Sparrow Racing League should be a total of 12 players, okay? And here's what I think it should have: 12 players instead of 6, okay? 6 players is just really boring, and since it has 6 players, there's like no action at all whatsoever. So that's why I believe it should have 6 players, or at least maybe they should increase it to at least 8 players, okay? We want the game mode to be fun, and of course, huge, what's this thing called? A huge part of this game mode, Sparrow Racing, involves other racers slowing you down by hitting you with their sparrows and punching you in the face and slapping you with their plastic no, okay, maybe they don't do that, okay, but the point is that most of the race is sparrows, also people hitting you with your sparrows so they could slow you down and stuff. And if there were 12 players, that would be a bigger part of the race. In fact, I did a race earlier that I almost got thrown off the map, and yeah, I ended up in 6th place. I'm not gonna lie, I rage quit out of that race because I knew I was gonna end up in 6th place. Oh, and by the way, that leads me to my next topic. Another thing that I just cannot stand about Sparrow Racing is that if I end up in 1st place, there's a 90% chance that when the race finishes, I'm gonna finish in 1st place. If I am in 2nd place, 3rd place, 4th place, there's a 90% chance that when the race ends, I'm still going to be at that place, okay? Because that other 10% chance is if you somehow miss one of those boosting thingies, or if you somehow hit something by accident. And if you're pretty average at video games, chances are that you only have like a 10% chance of actually making a mistake in a Sparrow Racing League. In other words, if you're in 4th place, you pretty much have no... You have like, what's this thing called? You have no reason to sort of believe that you're going to end up in 1st place, right? Because it's just impossible. It's like a 10% chance. There's no way for you to make a comeback, right? I remember on year 1 SRL, I actually made a huge comeback. I was in last place, I think, and I went from last place to 1st place somehow. But anyways, long story short, man, I really don't like how if you're in 1st place, you're going to be on 1st place throughout the entire race. Like, throughout this entire race, I was in 4th place, unless, except a couple of times, but I finished this race in 4th place. Why? Because the SRL doesn't have any freaking items or anything that can actually help you make a comeback. And that leads me, of course, to my next topic. Also, this idea is borrowed from Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart DS, all of that good stuff. In Mario Kart DS, there are these random boxes that you pick off from the ground, and then they do a right, they do like a sound, and then they give you like a random item. So let's talk to that, right? What if Bungie actually did that? What if Bungie actually placed items in the ground that you pick them up and they would give you like a random item? For example, let's say that Bungie places a Radiant Treasure type looking square thingy on the Sparrow Racing League field. You go over it, you pick it up, and then it gives you a Gallahorn missile. You then throw this Gallahorn missile to the person in front of you. The Gallahorn missile explodes, of course, and you know, then what's the thing called, the racer in front of you has to respawn, and that gives you an opportunity to go from 4th place to 3rd place. Oh wait, let's take it a step further. What if you miss that Gallahorn missile? Well, the Wolfpack rounds will damage the Sparrow in front of you a little bit. I mean, am I the only one that has thought of this? I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that has thought of this, and someone is gonna go be in the comments like, oh dude, I also thought of that, you know. But anyways, that means that, you know, when you shoot your Gallahorn missile, it's going to explode. You know, the Gallahorn Wolfpack rounds is going to damage the Sparrow, which means that if it gets hit by another set of Wolfpack rounds from your next Gallahorn missile that you pick up, you're going to be able to actually, what's this thing called, destroy the enemy team Sparrow. Now, of course, Bungie can add other items. Like, for example, maybe you can get like a box type thing that you just throw on the ground, and then if a Sparrow just hits it, it explodes. Or you can actually, let's say for example you were in 2nd place, right, and the person that is in 1st place, you know, he's like really far away from you. You pick up one of these random boxes, and then you get a truth rocket. You then throw this truth rocket into, you know, the freaking air, okay, and then you are able to and then the truth rocket will aggressively seek the person that is in 1st place. Okay, this is actually something that will make races in the Sparrow Racing League more entertaining. You know, it would make them more fun, and of course it would take out that factor that you're going to stay in the same place throughout the entirety of the race. I'm subscribed to a couple of Destiny YouTube channels, and I haven't even seen them play Sparrow Racing League. That just goes to show how boring this game mode is. Okay, now of course another item that they could add into, you know, this whole Sparrow Racing League item thingy could be like an icebreaker. You get like an icebreaker attached to your Sparrow because of the randomizer thingy, and then you can shoot it. You know, you can shoot 6 bullets of it, and then, you know, they regenerate, and then you have that for like, what, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds or something like that. You know, the point is that there needs to be some spiciness, there needs to be some variety when it comes down to Sparrow Racing, and I believe that 12 players, all of these random items, and actual like tournaments of, you know, 4 races in a row, and then, you know, the points stacking up, and then what's this thing called, the person with the most points at the end of those 4 races wins. I believe these things can make Sparrow Racing League better. Now some of you guys might be thinking, well, that's like copying Mario, but no, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if they're copying Mario Kart or any of that stuff, because every shooter game pretty much nowadays copies themselves, you know. Radiant Treasures are the same thing as loot boxes and battle packs in Overwatch and BF1, okay? So it's very, very good if Sparrow Racing League would borrow, you know, some elements from Mario Kart, because again, Sparrow Racing League needs to be fun. Bungie can even take a step further and do like team races in the Sparrow Racing League itself. So for example, let's say that it's a total of 12 players. You know, 6 people on your team, 6 people on the enemy team. They do a total of 4 races, and then at the end of the day, at the end of those 4 races, the team with the most points wins, and then they get like a legendary engram or something like that. So many things, so many possibilities to improve the Sparrow Racing League. Because seriously, every time I play this game mode, I just think about all of these things that Bungie can do to just make this game mode better. And again, you know, I'm glad that the content's here, but if it's shitty content, I believe it's no content. It's not that Sparrow Racing League sucks, it's just that it's not entertaining and it doesn't have longevity, and I would appreciate it if it did. Anyways, those are my thoughts on how to drastically improve the SRL, guys. If you enjoyed it, drop it a like, subscribe to join the Salvajee cartel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections below. Peace.